Here, my name is Michael Kovner. I'm the product manager at Tableau, and I focus on the extensions API and dashboard extensions. Now, we first released to our developer community the extensions API in developer preview mode last year at TC. We had active developer community working with the extensions API over the past year, and then we released as part of 2018.2 to the general public. Now, because the API is a developer feature, and because for most of the past year we've been focused on that developer community to help us build dashboard extensions, there's this maybe thought that, hey, if I'm not a developer or I haven't ramped up on the API yet, that extensions aren't for me. Well, this session is to help you cure that fear of missing out on dashboard extensions, because dashboard extensions are for everybody, and my goal is to give you 5 extensions that you may find use of today and help you know how to find search for other dashboard extensions that would be useful and take your dashboards to the next level. So, first of all, what is a dashboard extension? Well, the easiest way to put that is that it is a custom-built dashboard zone. Happens to be built using HTML, JavaScript, and other web technologies. It happens to be a web application, that is. And it can interact, drop it into your dashboard, and then it can interact with the rest of your dashboard, with the data sources, with the filters, with the sheets. It can interact with those via the extensions API. So let's clarify that a little bit more. The extensions API is for developers to build dashboard extensions. Dashboard extensions, once built, can be used by anybody. So why enable this? Why give people the ability to create dashboard extensions and to use them? Well, dashboard extensions tend to fall into 3 categories, 3 scenarios. The first is new insights. We want a new viz type that shows us, a sunburst diagram or something like that, or we want the filtering widget to work a little bit differently so that I can ask questions in a different way of my dashboard. And that's the type of thing that people can build using dashboard extensions, one of the things. The next is to integrate external functionality. So pretty much every company, small and large, now has multiple pieces of business software that they use. And people want to take information from those other systems and put them right inside of their dashboard to provide more insight to their users. And not only just to display one piece of information, but to make it feel like a native piece of the dashboard so that it can, when I click over here, that information from, say, my CRM or from my data catalog or something displays and interacts with the rest of my dashboard. And finally, it's to turn dashboards into applications. Looking at an interactive dashboard used to just be something you do at the end of analysis, but now people are doing more and more of running their lives out of dashboards. But the challenge there of running a business workflow with a dashboard as the centerpiece is that it's going to lead to some action you have to take outside. So, okay, that customer hasn't been contacted in 3 months. I found that due to my dashboard. Now I have to take some marketing or Salesforce action, and I have to open up my marketing or sales application externally, log in, navigate to that user, and then take that action. Dashboard extensions, one of the use cases is to bring that ability to take that action right inside of the dashboard. So you can run your entire business workflow out of the dashboard and use it as a full-fledged application. All right, so before we get into demos, a little bit more clarification on the different personas of people involved at an organization with dashboard extensions. We already talked about this guy. He usually wears a hoodie, of course, as this picture indicates. And he's going to build using the extensions API. He's probably going to have some web developer skills. Our API is pretty simple, so if you just dabble in some HTML and JavaScript, you could probably get ramped up. But those are the skills you need. You'll build a dashboard extension. That person will build a dashboard extension. Now there needs to be security. This is third-party code or custom code that's being run. So we build a variety of pieces of functionality to give server and site admins control over which extensions are able to run on Tableau server and what they're allowed to do. And finally, it's the dashboard author, the person who analyzes data, who decides which sheets are going to be on their dashboard, which filters, how they're going to interact, and that's the person who's going to take some of these pre-built extensions, whether they're built in-house or some of the ones that I'm going to show you today, drags them in. So this session is all about the dashboard author and ignore the API, ignore security for the next 25 minutes. It's all about what the dashboard author can gain out of extensions. Now, if you're in a session, maybe hey, extensions seem pretty cool. I want to see what I can do with them. The best place to go is the extension gallery. Extensiongallery.tableau.com is about 20 or so at this point. Community-built dashboard extensions that will work in many, if not most, of your dashboards. So these companies have entered into legal agreements with us to get their extensions on the extension gallery. You can go see what they're all about, and if you like them, drop them into your dashboard. All of the demos I'm going to show you today are from the extension gallery. So you can leave here, go over to those tables, and grab the exact extensions I'm about to show you. So I'll show you what the extension gallery experience is. It's really not too crazy. I'm going to sign into this before I forget. All right. So, that's not it. Extension gallery. So it's what you would think. You see a variety of different extensions built by different companies, and you're interested in one. So you're scrolling down here. You see show me more. What's that? Add new visualization types. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Sankey diagram, radar charts. Let me click on that. You see some screenshots. I'll be loading a lot of web pages because extensions are web pages, so I'm just going to apologize for the conference Wi-Fi once and not apologize anymore. Okay. So here's the page. That looks interesting. I'm going to click download. When I click download, it's going to ask me to log in, so I'm not going to do that. I already have this one downloaded. You're going to not download an entire web application. You're going to download what's known as a T-Rex file. A T-Rex file is a lightweight manifest file. It basically is metadata about the extension, where to load it from. So it's measured in the kilobytes rather than the megabytes. Small file. In case you're curious, why T-Rex file? So the T stands for Tableau, and the EX stands for extensions, and the R is so we could call it T-Rex. Okay, so you go to the gallery, you download a T-Rex file, or maybe somebody gives it to you. They're easy to distribute. Now you want to add it to your dashboard. So before I do that, we're doing some typical analysis, go through normal flow that might inform why you might want a custom this type that Show Me More allows you. So I'll build a, come on mouse. I'll build just a typical Salesforce view here, region, and category, there we go, and subcategory. All right. So I'm doing some basic type of Tableau analysis. And now with 3 dimensions here, I kind of want to see flows of data from this region to this category. What do the flows look like? Parts of a whole. A bar chart is definitely not. I can't really see parts of a whole from this. You could make an argument for a tree map, but a popular type of chart for this is a Sankey diagram. That's just something that Tableau does not have natively. So the Show Me More extension, and that's built by our friends at Infotopics based in the Netherlands, allows that. So, and by the way, has anyone here actually tried to build a Sankey diagram? Like you Google Tableau Sankey diagram, and then you're like, okay, step 99 is you do this, right? So it's pretty hard, but this is what it looks like using Infotopics Show Me More. I'm going to drag, it's a dashboard extension, so I have to put it on a dashboard. So I put my sheet on my dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here just to show you this once. So there's this new, as of 2018.2, there's this new dashboard object type called an extension. You can drag it anywhere you want, just like any other dashboard zone, and I'll go ahead and drop it tiled over here. I can click the link to the extension gallery to explore, or I can click My Extensions, which will open up my, operating system file picker. And here I have a bunch of extensions, as you might expect. Here's that one I downloaded called Show Me More. So that's the T-Rex file. As I said, it's 2 kilobytes, right? So super small. So I'll go ahead and open that. I briefly mentioned security, right? So these are pieces of third-party code, and so we want to let people make informed choices about whether they allow those to run. So you get a prompt explaining, hey, this one doesn't require full data, but it still can access some information about your dashboard, and so are you okay with that? Do you trust this company? And I trust them, they're nice guys. So I'm going to click allow, and then it's going to load, and it asks me to configure. Now a lot of extensions will have this kind of configuration step where I do something like select a sheet type, right? So it's figuring out which sheets are on my dashboard. In this case, there's only one. And then it's giving me all these new, and this is why they call it Show Me More, because it acts almost like Show Me, but it adds these 7 new chart types. So I can grab a sunburst diagram or a Sankey diagram or a radar chart. So as I said, I want a Sankey diagram. I'll click on that. This is all, by the way, this is all the custom web page that they built. They built this experience, so another dashboard extension developer is going to have a different experience to their configuration dialogues. So I want the Sankey diagram to flow from region to category to subcategory, and it's on sales. I just pick some measures there and hit OK. And there we go. I have a Sankey diagram. It queries all the data from my sheet. It puts it into the extension. They know what to do, how to draw a Sankey diagram, and there we go. Now, what they've done really well is using the API provides ways to communicate back and forth between the extension and the rest of the dashboard, so it can feel like a native Tableau viz. So it looks like a normal hover, right? But also, if I come over here and I click on, for example, a region, the Sankey diagram filters to that region, so it feels just like Tableau actions when I'm clicking around and exploring my data. Your users, I would guess there would be some dashboard users who don't even realize this is not a native Tableau viz at this point. Great, so I'm going to move on to the next example. I encourage you to check out Show Me More. I was going to show a network diagram, but I wasted time making you all dance, so I'm going to move on. All right, so, and I should say that they have a free version and a paid version. That's the type of thing we're encouraging with the Extension Gallery because it really incentivizes people to get out there and start building some awesome extensions. Some of what I showed in the Sankey diagram is part of the free version, and some of it's part of the paid version. So that's just a fair warning, so you don't send me angry emails later. All right, so the next demo I have is called Export All. So this is an example of people raising their hand and saying, I love this one feature of Tableau, but it doesn't work the way I want. Just a common, we all have our own little things, even myself. And what we love at on the developer platform team is to enable these external developers to go, hey, people are raising their hand, they want this to behave a little bit differently, so we are going to use the APIs to build that. And that's exactly what Information Labs did when they built this Export All extension. So Tableau allows you to export to Excel. Many of you probably know that, but you don't really get too many configuration options. You don't get to put the data on different sheets. You don't get to select which columns you want to put on there, and you can't provide the user a nice little button. So again, Information Labs built a pretty simple extension that does just that. So I'll navigate to my extensions. It's called Export All. This is I think it's the second most popular extension used on Tableau Online to date. We'll go ahead and click Allow. I'll go ahead and load. It loads up the configuration dialog. And so I'm choosing which sheets. I don't want the map, that's not useful, just these 2 line charts down below. And this Boolean order, this red-blue category, KPI, order profitable, is not useful at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. And I can rename that, this button, give me that data. So basically these are all configuration options that Information Labs made available. So I'm done configuring. Now I have this nice little button on my dashboard that any of my users can click, and they get all of the data in this nice text table, just like the way they selected with the sheets they selected and the columns they selected. Now, on Tableau Desktop, this doesn't go to Excel because they don't have a way to save for you, but on server, I have an example. It'll load. Okay. Soon. All right, so I'm going to click Export All. It's already on Tableau server. Now I'm going to click Export All. And I'll put this on my desktop as TC Thursday. Open it up. I need one file. No, I don't need another one. And there you go. Multiple tabs, something that the native export functionality doesn't do, and the chosen columns, so nicely formatted export to Excel. A simple ask that we haven't been able to fulfill natively, but via the extensions API and dashboard extensions now possible due to our friends at Information Labs. All right, moving on. So NBA season just started. Any NBA fans? Like 7, that's it? This is a pretty popular sport. Okay, so I'm from San Antonio, so it's a really weird time for Spurs fans. No Tim Duncan, no Manu Ginobili, no Tony Parker, no Kawhi Leonard. It's weird. So, you know, I was getting ready for the season. What is a confused Spurs fan to do but open up Tableau and look at some stats, right? So this scatter plot is every player stat from last year, and then color is team. So that's not really useful, right? I can't figure out where the Spurs here. So I wanted a fun way to navigate around this dashboard and find the Spurs, comparing to the Warriors, see if we're going to beat the Warriors this year. Anyone think the Spurs are going to beat the Warriors in the playoffs? No? Sure? Nobody? No, nobody. Okay, so so I could create a filter, a quick filter. Yeah, that's all right. But you know, it's sports data. Let's make it a little fun. These teams have logos. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have seen or even built these types of dashboards that are on Tableau Public with sports data, where you have all the logos, and you can click on them to filter your other sheets. So how do you do that now? Well, you grab all those logos, you put them in your shapes folder in my Tableau repository, then you drag the team name out to some field, and then you one by one say, this one is the Spurs logo, this is the Warriors logo. And on top of all of that burdensome work, they're shape files, and so they're kind of low res. So these guys over at BizTory, which is a partner out of Brussels, built an extension called Image Filter to do that type of thing in a much simpler way. So I'll go ahead and grab Image Filter here, drop it in, and allow it. And just like the others, it's going to ask for some configuration. So it'll give me a variety of options as far as formatting goes. The main thing is it's asking me which filter do you want to use. And so I want to filter on team, and I can say whether it's single select or multi-select. So the next thing it's asking me is the crux of this extension. It's asking me the URL path of the images. So what's going to do is I'm going to give it a base URL, and then it's going to append the team field to that base URL and just make requests to those URLs and grab those for each of the values of team. Okay, so where am I going to get a URL path for for a logo for every team in the NBA? So I went over to NBA.com to see if I could find something that would be useful. All right. So once they load, you'll see that there are these logos, as you might expect, next to the team names. I know there's a logo here, so I'm just going to click on it and click Open Link in New Tab. Oh, no, not Open Link. I have to wait for the image. Yep, I have to wait for the image. There they go. There's some logos. And I'll click Open Image in New Tab. And there we go. There's a URL to the Cleveland Cavs logo. And this is just takes the 3-letter common abbreviation for the team. So there's the Spurs, there's the Pelicans, right? Okay, so great. So I have the URL. I'm just going to copy that, paste it in, get rid of the actual team name here. And away it goes. So I hit save. It's going to make a request to all those URLs one by one, find out all the values, and now I have all the logos. That's all I had to do. Click on the Spurs. Okay. LaMarcus Aldridge, yeah, he's going to be good. Who's this guy? Oh, Rudy Gay's next, his point per game. All right, so we're going to be in trouble. All right. Here's another example that we call filter bookmarks. A simple example of controlling filtering in a fun new way on dashboards. So here's a relatively complex dashboard, and it's got a few filtering options, right? 3, that's probably low for a lot of dashboards, but sometimes you might have 8 filters on your dashboard, navigating around. So I'm going, okay, show me all the countries in Asia that are have relative ease of business and are relative high GDP per capita. Okay, so there's a few in there. I want to save this analysis for later, right? And then I'm going to go look at some other countries from some other reason, and I want to be able to come back to this analysis. Or I want I want to save this as a button for my users, my dashboard consumers, to go like, oh, that was interesting analysis. Like, go check this out. So that's what the filter bookmarks extension does. So I'm going to go drag that in. And it loads and it pops up a configuration dialog. And I give it a name. So this button is going to be Asia good ease of business, high GDP. What happened there? High GDP. Okay, and and I gotta hit save settings. So that takes all the filtering information. And now I can go ahead and I'm doing some other analysis and looking over here. And then I go ahead and click Asia, good ease of biz, high GDP, and it goes back to that state. Takes all the filters and brings it back. The great thing is I can bring in another extension here. I'll go to, let's say, America's not very good ease of business and relatively low GDP. I'll drag that in over another instance of the filter bookmarks. And call that, I'll just call it Americas for the sake of time, and make it red. And now I have these little kind of buttons on my dashboard that allow the users to navigate to spots that in the analysis that I found interesting and act as jumping off points. All right, moving along. So I talked a little bit, I'm going to reload this while I start talking. I talked a little bit about dashboard as application. So a lot of people, this is an example of the type of dashboard where people run their lives out of. Our salespeople do. I know a lot of organizations out of there have their salespeople run their lives out of some kind of pipeline dashboard or open opportunities dashboard. And so they're looking at what are my opportunities this quarter? What's my pipeline looking like? Okay, and who am I going to go call? Now I go call somebody and then I'm like, oh, I need to update that information. They're not going to close this quarter. They're going to close next quarter. I need to leave a comment for my manager for when my manager comes and looks at this dashboard. So what do you do today? You click a URL action and it opens up in a new tab and you log into Salesforce and then you navigate to that account and then you leave a comment and then you hit save and then come back to the dashboard and you hit refresh. And all to leave like a comment and change like one field, right? So to be able to take actions right inside of your dashboard was one of the key reasons why we built dashboard extensions. And And a lot of these types of taking action or write back extensions will be custom built for the use case. But these guys over at Expand IT built a write back extension that writes back to Google Sheets or whatever HTTP endpoint that you want. You can make a request if that's what you choose. And sends data over and it writes back to Google Sheets, or again, if you have an HTTP endpoint. So it makes it a way that you can create these dashboards as applications without writing a single line of code. So I already have it configured to my dashboard. But what is a salesperson doing? So I just got off a call with Labordis Nisi, and they were in the early stages of their evaluation, but things are moving along nicely. They're actually entering in. They're going to start kicking the tires on the technical parts of the product. So I need to update that. So I'll click here, select that mark. I'll hit this little refresh button, and that data is now flowing into the extension from the native bar chart. I can click on this row here and click edit. And I can say, okay, this is no longer in the discover stage, it's in the validation stage. And I can leave a comment for my manager about the current status. So working with sales engineering on tech eval, okay? And I'll go ahead and, actually, so because they just entered a tech eval, this is actually gonna push out to next quarter. So that's bad news I gotta inform my manager about. So I'm gonna go ahead and change the close date to April 1st. I'll hit submit, and they have this little button to send the data to the cloud. Hopefully I just do that once. It's going to do that, and I meant to point it out that the previous open was 3.7 million or something like that, and now that changed. So it sent the data to my Google spreadsheet. It told Tableau to refresh, and now you can see, because I accidentally hit this twice, there's double the amount. But here's the comment I just made: working with sales engineering on tech eval. What state is it in? Validation. So that data that I put right inside of my dashboard is now available for me to see and available for my manager to see. And I'm able to now move on to my next call. This is another example. I just gave my manager bad news that that's moving out to next quarter. So I'm gonna inform him that actually I closed this as well. So before I go in, closed one currently for the quarter is 1.6 million. I'll go ahead and load that into the extension, edit it, and say, actually, this just closed yesterday, and we got the deal. So closed one, and I'll say they signed, yay, and I hit submit, and I'll send that data to the cloud, and watch the closed one in the upper left-hand corner, and my data updates. So this is just one example of the type of business workflow where it starts in Tableau, and historically it goes outside to some other system. I bet if you brainstorm about all the ways people use Tableau at your company, there'd be a lot of these types of workflows. And my hope is using this extension or other extensions, you'll be able to keep people right in their flow. Now, these are just a handful of useful extensions. Go check out the extension gallery, see what's available, download them, try them out in your dashboards, and let us know how it goes. If you have other ideas, of dashboard extensions you don't see but you're not a developer, just engage with us at github.com/Tableau. We have an extensions API repository. It's a good place to leave comments and say, hey, I have an idea for the extension, an extension that I don't know how to build or I don't have time to build. Has anyone thought about building that? So that kind of community engagement's really fun for all of us. Any other questions? I went over, so I don't think I'll be able to stick around for too long. But I'll be at the Developer Platform Lab. So over in the labs, we have a booth dedicated to the developer platform. I'll be over there. I'm going to go eat lunch, and then I'll head right over there. And so if you have any other questions, meet me there. You guys probably know this by now, and thanks for coming.